Hi, this is Eric Olson from HELPS. One of the attorneys here at HELPS suggested that I could do a video on the topic, should I or do I need to avoid service of a summons for a debt? Okay? And in order to answer that question, I'll just give a little background information at first. Okay? First off, my name's Eric Olson. I've been an attorney now for almost 43 years. I'm the founder and director of HELPS. What we do is we represent seniors and disabled persons who have debt they can't afford to pay in order to stop debt collector harassment. And we educate seniors about their financial rights, including the fact that Social Security, virtually all pensions, disability, VA benefits, that money is protected by federal law. It can't be garnished or taken from them, okay? And there's even means that it's protected in your bank account. So seniors that owe debt they can't afford to pay, receiving this type of protected income, don't need to pay the debt. They can use that money for their basic needs like food, medicine, housing, that kind of thing, whatever they need it for. And when people enroll in HELPS, what they do is they give us their creditors they owe money to, or their collectors, and we send what's called a cease and desist letter. Under a federal law called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, when a person's represented by an attorney, debt collectors can no longer call or send demand letters to that person anymore. They have to leave them alone. And our clients' income is protected. They don't need to file bankruptcy because their income is protected. They can't afford to file bankruptcy. But what happens if they don't pay the debt? Creditors can call and make their lives miserable. And that's why HELPS is here, to stop that kind of harassment. Now, occasionally a HELPS client or a senior would get sued for a debt. Sometimes I'll tell people, if you got 10 creditors, maybe 1.5 out of 10 would end up suing you. Could be less, could be more. It really doesn't matter because your income is safe, okay? And a lot of seniors, maybe they've never been sued before, so the idea of getting sued could be kind of scary for them. And don't need to be scared, okay? And I'll explain why. So the question is, if you think someone's knocked on the door or they're trying to serve you a summons, should you try to avoid the person? Well, you probably don't need to avoid them, because if your income is protected and they can't really do anything to you, they're probably going to end up serving you summons somehow. They're going to keep trying until they get you. And if they're going to eventually serve you and you owe the money, you don't need to defend it, and they'll eventually get what's called a default judgment. It's kind of meaningless. You're what's called judgment proof. We got a lot of videos on our YouTube page that talk about this, why your income is protected, that you can look at. So, do you need to avoid a service of summons? Some people relish in trying to avoid a service of summons. You don't need to. Okay. Now, service of summons can take place in different ways. They can serve what's called substitute service. They can serve someone at your house where you live and then send you a copy in the mail. And there's different ways that they can serve you with summons. Sometimes if they go front door and you don't answer it, they can see you're there, they might just drop it on the ground. Well, that technically may not be valid service, but I mean, you'd have to challenge that. And too expensive and too complicated, and if they can't do anything anyway, why worry about it? In 4 decades of practice, I've had so many people tell me that had a judgment. Well, I never served Mr. Olson. I never did get the paperwork. And I say, okay, if you wanted to, you go back to the courthouse and you look at the case number, and there'll be an affidavit in there or a statement by the person who supposedly served you saying when and how they served you, okay? In all those years, I can't recall a single time someone coming back to me and saying, I wasn't served. What happens, I think, when you look at the records, you'll find out, oh, I guess I was. A lot of times it's a long time away, or maybe they served one of the kids or your wife, maybe, or you forgot about it. The bottom line is, you really don't, if you owe the money, and you don't need to go to extra steps to avoid service of summons. You don't need to do that. Now, I suppose you could think of some exceptions. I'm trying to think of an exception. Hard to. Okay? Hard to think of an exception. But there's a really firm general rule: you don't need to avoid service summons. Now, some people are scared because it's a sheriff that comes out and serves. Well, you know, almost every county has what's called a civil deputy that's assigned to serve legal papers. Now, in some states, they have constables that aren't affiliated with the sheriff, but most of the time it could be a sheriff's deputy, and he might have a uniform on. But in a lot of places, a private person can serve the summons, someone over a certain age. So it doesn't matter who it is that serves the paperwork. And if it's the sheriff, it's not criminal, it's civil, so you don't need to worry about it. So as a general rule, no, you don't need to avoid services summons. You don't need to do it. You can if you want, but you really don't need to do it. Hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions, you can always call HELPS toll free at the number down below. We'd like you to, make a comment or like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the most important thing we tell people, I guess, if we can help you, please know what we do and share what we do with other seniors that might need our help. We're the only law firm in the nation that does what we do. No one else does this. Protect lower-income seniors from collector harassment and educate them how to maintain their financial independence. A lot of people need this help. We talk to people every day. They're very thankful to find us. And we always tell our clients, you can call as often as you need to if you have questions or worried or concerned. It doesn't matter how many times. Our whole purpose of HELPS is so that seniors that have protected income, who owe debt, that they don't need to worry. Okay? So if you have any questions, give us a call. Hopefully this has been helpful for you, and you have a great day.